And with this record-breaking heat right now, well, the AC is pretty much running 24/7. It is so important. And Maria Hechanova, welcome back, is got some great tips for us as far as the major do's and don'ts when it comes to preserving that air-conditioned life.
Yes, Ian, I picked quite the week to come back and be one of the hottest weeks, right? We're talking 100 degrees by 10 o'clock this morning, and that means, like you said, our AC units are going to be working harder and longer. So what do you need to do to make sure that it keeps running? We've got Mike Donnelly here, been in business for more than 40 years. You know what you're doing. You said you were so busy this week, I can't imagine.
Yeah, yesterday and even Sunday it started when people were coming back to town. It's pretty crazy in our call center, but we're handling all the calls. We're still getting to people same day, but that may not last very long.
And so what do people need to do with their AC units right now? It's not too late, right?
Well, it's you should have turned it on a long time ago, and I'm sure everybody had it on yesterday at 100 and whatever, 13, 16. But it's time to double check your filter, change it. It's the easiest thing you can do to keep your unit running efficiently. And the question we get a lot is my unit running correctly? And if it's stopped altogether, you always start at the thermostat and turn it off, let it sit for about 5 minutes, turn it back on, see if it'll come back on for you. If you still don't have anything, you can switch it to fan on mode, and that'll tell you if there's power to the unit. If the blower comes on, you know you have power to the unit. That means you probably have a bigger problem. But if there's no power to the unit, go out to your electrical panel, and you can look for your AC breaker and turn it on and off and back on, and hopefully it'll come back on in some time. The last thing you can check is there are fuses on outside by your unit, and these sometimes go bad, especially in the high heat. And you can take them to the hardware store and have them tested, buy new ones, put them back in and plug them back in, and hopefully you've solved your own problem. The other issue we often have is that it's cooling, but it's not blowing cold enough, or it's not keeping the house the temperature that you want. And typically you want to have an 18 to 20 degree difference between the temperature of the house and the temperature of the cold air coming out of the register. So if you have a thermometer, you could put it up to the register, see how cold the air is coming out. If your thermostat... We all
have a thermometer now with our with checking
right.
temperatures. But listen, you know, if you've lived in Arizona long enough, you know how miserable and costly and inconvenient it can be when your AC goes out. So we're actually going to go over some of the don'ts, what you should not do, coming up at 6:30 a.m. And also, if your AC is broken or it needs another part, you might be out of luck. We'll tell you why you might have to handle the heat a lot longer than maybe you had to do last summer. Last hour, we talked about what you should do. Let's talk about what you shouldn't do. Mike Donnelly here with Donnelly AC and Plumbing. What's the number one thing people need to keep in mind?
Well, Maria, the biggest mistake people make is setting back their thermostat. And when the temperatures are like this, over 115, units are working 14 to 17 hours a day. And so we like to tell customers, set the temperature where you like it and leave it there, even if you're not there during the day.
So set it and forget it.
Correct. And it takes so long for the house to come back once you turn it off or you set it back 4 or 5 degrees. It just, you burn up all the energy you saved bringing the house back to temperature.
So I sleep really hot. My husband likes to sleep, cold. What temperature, everyone fights over the thermostat. What do you recommend people keep it at?
Utility companies recommend like 78 degrees. But for every degree you can live warmer, you'll save 3 to 4% on your energy costs.
And that's what we're talking about, savings. So what we need to do to make sure that we are able to save some time and save some money, because we all know either you've had your AC, if you've been in Arizona long enough, either your AC has gone out, someone's AC has gone out, and then it's a big cost. We're talking thousands and thousands of dollars in order to get a new AC unit. Real quick, Mike, let's talk about why it might take a little bit longer this year than normal to actually get a new unit.
Well, like a lot of things in our world today, we're having some some supply problems. So manufacturers aren't putting out as many units. They're harder to get. We're finding them. We're solving problems, but sometimes it takes a little bit longer.
When we're talking a little longer and you're hot, that's what, 1 to 2 days, a week?
It really depends on what we're talking about. Some parts are very hard to find, or we're just having to go to multiple sources to find things.